Hi everyone, Jill here. Welcome to my home. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all my holiday thrift shop haul and some of my practical tips for buying secondhand. Now I have got memories from childhood on antique shopping, thrift store shopping. I have vivid memories of my grandparents doing this, my mother doing this, and so it was just kind of rooted in me to thrift, and I love it, absolutely love it. Over, I would say about 90% of my home is thrifted. I have very vivid memories of the first home Nathan and I bought. It was literally like our couches were thrifted, our dining room table was thrifted, like every single part of that home was thrifted because we had a very limited budget, right? Frugality was something we were really intentional with, and through the years we have continued to keep that mentality that I truly believe it is more sustainable to buy secondhand. The pieces that you purchase, if you're really intentional with shopping, they tell a story, they have character. My hope is that anyone that walks into my home immediately feels cozy, they feel warmth, and they can't find anything in my home in any store, and that's something that I really pride myself in, is taking time to thrift all of these things. But through the years I found there are some tips and tricks that can really help you. So through the years I've found that there's a way to thrift, there's a way to buy secondhand. You have got to have a plan, and so I'm going to talk about that, especially if you are coming at this from a frugality standpoint and you want to be frugal with your shopping. You want to make sure you have a plan and you're not overspending, because some things, you know, particularly antiques, they can be a bit pricier. And so I'm gonna walk you guys through what I snagged today, tell you what all I spent, and then thankfully everything I bought today had a dual purpose because I had a mission in mind, which I do recommend doing that. My earlier years of thrifting, I would go and whatever I saw pretty, I was like, oh, and so I would bring home and collect these things, and I had no home for them or no purpose. I just thought this was too good of a deal to pass up, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it, and so it ended up going in a closet, and obviously that's kind of defeating the whole purpose, right? So let's dive into my holiday thrift store find. Everything here came from 2 different thrift stores. I do recommend that. Go to all the thrift stores, but if you're thrifting often, you kind of know those ones. Like there's one I go to for pottery, there's one I go to if I want a lot of brass things, there's one I go to if I'm looking for furniture pieces, and so shop your areas, look on Facebook Marketplace, stop at yard sales. Yard sales, you can really get good deals, but if you're going to thrift stores in particular, hone in which ones really kind of captivate your style, which ones are you buying the most things from, and then shop those things often so you're not spending a lot of time and gas driving and all these other places. Alright, so first of all, like I said, have a plan. So I knew that I was wanting to buy things for the holidays. My kids have really let their voice be heard that they want me to decorate for the holidays more. Now we put up our Christmas tree, we hang up our stockings, but I don't really go all out for the holidays, right? We have the bare necessities, but the dining room table is not always set. We don't have knickknacks everywhere. And my kids have really expressed that they are desiring that. They have asked specifically to have candlelit dinners, that we always do this, not just on the holidays, and so that was something that I had to take into account, and I also had to buy for. I didn't own a single candlestick, I didn't own a single candle in my home, and so I had to be intentional, and so I knew that I wanted things where I could set the dining room table, because that is something that they have really desired, that they want the dining room table lit, they want to come throughout the house and see candles. That really creates a feeling for them. And then I knew that I am going to be hosting a lot. All Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays I am cooking for this year, and so that's really exciting. But I knew that I was going to need dishes. If we were going to have all this food displayed on the table, I was going to need, you know, different pie shells to bake things in. I was going to need, you know, bowls and plates to be able to set appetizers out on, and so I knew that I went in with the vision and the idea that I needed candlestick holders, stuff to set the table and other places in our home, and then I needed dishes to be able to present the beautiful meals in. And so let me show you what I got. So I am a sucker for brass. It has recently started to come back around, and I was able to find literally the brass score of the century at a thrift store. And so I bought these beautiful little brass candlesticks, which my kids thought was so cool because they thought I bought something from Beauty and the Beast. And so these candlesticks, they are legit brass. I bought them for $3 a piece, so $6. I just bought some beeswax little miniature candles, and they fit in there great. And so I knew that this was gonna be really pretty displayed about the table. So here I bought a lot of different sizes of brass candlesticks. Now some of them match, some of them don't. For me, I really like how eclectic that is. I do have a matching pair here of a smaller one. And then I've got the big sister here, so those would go really well matched together. These were $2 a piece, and then I was able to get this small skinny one for $1 a piece. I came home, just cleaned them up really well, but they look great. So then I bought some sister candlesticks. These are a lot bigger, as you can see. They're a heavier brass. I bought the pair for $6, so I did not think that was bad at all. The bottom's really pretty here, very sturdy. I thought would look really, really pretty on a dining room table for the holidays with some different colored candles. And then we have this pair, which was brass and then also has silver and brass again at the bottom. I personally really liked this, how it broke up just it all being brass. I thought this would look really pretty for like Christmas. These are super heavy, and I want to say I paid like $5 a piece for these, so these were the most expensive ones that I got out of all of the candlesticks. Next up, we have this really fun little triangle of candlesticks. Very, very cute. I wasn't even necessarily envisioning this on the kitchen table, but I thought on an entryway table, even a side table, this would be really pretty, and especially for outdoor dining as well. This was just really cute. I bought it for a couple bucks. And lastly, I bought a pair of these candlesticks. It's brass at the bottom, a glass globe on top, and then you just stick the candle directly in the middle. I thought these would be really pretty on either side of the dining room table. And I bought this pair for, I want to say it was like $7 for the pair, $7 or $8 for the pair. Brought them home, cleaned them up. That's another thing too when you're thrifting. Don't let the look of it fool you. A lot of times you can clean those up with very little effort, and that's what I did. I knew that these all had potential. I also knew that these were going to be dual purpose pieces, which I will talk to you guys about in a second. So I kind of really like that rustic feel to them. And then the other piece that I snagged, and I've actually been looking for these for quite some time now, for several months, were these oil lamps. They are a lot harder to find. They're also really pricey. I will say that for some things, if you just love it and you know you can't find it anywhere else, spend a little bit more. But for me, I didn't want to spend $60 on an oil lamp, especially if it wasn't working. So I was willing to just continue to search out and look. So this has got a wick in it. It's very, very great condition. I paid $10 for this oil lamp. Right now it's just been sitting front and center in my dining room table. Very, very beautiful, and so we will definitely be lighting this when it comes time for the holidays. And then this one I paid a little bit more for. I paid $20 for. It's a beautiful green, very stunning. It has the wick in it as well. So you guys can see I'm just making that wick come up some, but it's a little bit more rustic. The globe's a little rusted on the bottom, but still very stunning. I thought this could go on the entry table as I was decorating for Christmas with some garland and some different like berries, things like that. I just thought that this was going to be worth the $20, and because I had been searching, I knew that the cheapest one I had found was $50, and so I went ahead and snagged these two as well. All right, so let's pause for a second. Let's talk about all these candlesticks. I know you might be thinking, girl, how many brass candlesticks do you actually need? But one, I follow a lot of thrifting accounts on Instagram. And it's essentially accounts where they go and they thrift things and they resell them. And I have been following 3 accounts in particular that are really diving into brass in particular. And I mean, a pair of these candlesticks will go for $25. And so I've got several sets here. And so one, I knew I had gold. When I was able to get these for $2 a piece, get the set for $5, I knew what they were going for and I knew their value. I also knew that I was buying for the holidays in mind, but I've also been planning a farm to table dinner for a year and a half now. And for me, we haven't moved forward with that because I have a very particular vision. I did not want to rent china. I did not want to buy decorations from the store. I knew I wanted to intentionally thrift. I wanted it eclectic. Again, I'm trying to create a feeling for someone, whether they come to my home, they come to an event on our farm. And so I knew that all of these served a purpose. I could bring them out for the holidays, but I could also use these for all of our farm to table dinners. I knew I would be able to bring out the oil lamps. These would be very, very stunning, sitting on either side of a long farm to table dinner with some handmade candles in there. And so I do encourage you guys, when you're thrifting, find something that's dual purpose. For me, this just made so much sense. This was also the vision that I had for my farm to table dinners. And so I knew when I had found these so affordable that I was just gonna buy all that they had. And we have displayed a ton of these on our table, even though it's not quite the holiday season yet. All right, next up, let's talk pottery. Hi, I'm Jill. I have a pottery problem. I love it. I have our own mugs thrown every single year to put on our shop. I love partnering with artisans, but every time I talk about pottery or someone comes in my home and they see my hand thrown bowls or my plates or my mugs, the first thing that people always say is that's so beautiful, but it's so expensive. And they're not wrong. I have literally watched these mugs be made. We partner with a local potter. I watch them hand throw all of my plates and my bowls for our, dining set. And it's a labor of love, you guys. And so yes, I realize that it's expensive. However, it's usually always worth it. It's a very labor intensive craft. But what I always tell people is thrifting is the best way to snag pottery. So while I love supporting local artisans, I love partnering with them, for the bulk of things, the extra things, if you will, I always thrift them. And so I knew, like I mentioned, holidays are gonna be at my house this year. And we love to have these little nibble boards, which means while I'm cooking dinner, I like to have a charcuterie out on the table with different nuts, different fruits, different meats, ferments. I like people to be able to snack while I'm cooking, and then I don't quite feel all that pressure of getting dinner out at a certain time. And so I do this by just like displaying all these little things across my dining room table, which require a lot of little bowls, things that I realized I didn't ever have, something I never collected, definitely something I never bought from the store. So that was on my mind. I need to find some of these different bowls, different little trinkets that I could display some different fruits, nuts, and meats in. And so I went on the hunt for these adorable little bowls. I was actually able to find quite a few. These have some depth to them, which I really like. The set cost me $3. I knew that it would go with my theme for the holidays, kind of those neutrals and browns. And so I snagged these, really like them. I also snagged these handmade pottery, I'm not sure you would call them bowls, but I have been putting ferments in them and nuts, and they work really well. They're also super dual purpose. So I have these small little candles that I stick in here, and they make these great little candle holders. But I knew that these were super versatile, and I wanted to grab them. So the pair was $10. So I would definitely tell you, if you're on the hunt for little bowls and things like this, don't pass them up. There's been so many times that I went to the thrift store, I found some, and I was like, I don't really know. But they were like $2, $3, $4, $5, and I've come home and I thought, oh my gosh, why didn't I snag those? And something else I like to do, especially when I'm thinking about displaying things on my table, is look for depth. So we have these that are a lot deeper, these are more shallow, and so that is something that I would mention, is make sure you're finding different bowls with different heights if that's something that you're going after. But definitely for a charcuterie or just nibble boards, all the bowls, all the little trinkets, I think work really well for that. And then also I can still use these again for those farm to table events that I'm talking about. So with farm to table in mind, and even with the holidays, I'm really wanting to get more glass china things, things that I have never once collected. I know that my grandparents probably had a ton that I should have been like, oh yeah, I actually want this. So now I've been on the quest for all this fun little glass trinkets. And so this would be really great for a dessert, which is what I was thinking about. I could make some sort of bread pudding and stick in here. So I bought a set of 6 and these cost me 25 cents a piece. They are legit glass. These would also just be really pretty. And so I've been on the hunt for different goblets of colored glass as well. And so that's a great way to bring those things out for the holiday. 25 cents, there's no way. I mean, this costs way more than 25 cents to make. And so for me, I thought that that was a really good steal. So with this whole, you know, goblet, dining plates, for me, we have got, like I mentioned, handmade pottery plates, but I only have a place setting of 7, I believe 6 or 7. So that's not enough for all the people I'm wanting to feed. And so I didn't like the idea of having one dining set and then something different. And so I thought, well, what if I just collect a bunch of different vintage plates to where it's all mismatched, but then it seems uniform, right? It seems like it was an intentional decision. And so I snagged all of these yellow colored glass plates with these really pretty festive designs on them. I'm actually really obsessed with these. You can see just the slight tint. They had some that were a pink tint, an orange tint. This yellow, I think, is really pretty. Now, this is one of those items that I spent a bit more on than I probably would have. But I had been looking for plates like this for our farm to table event for quite some time. So I got a set of 7 and I paid $12.95, which I know is not a lot at all, but I just think these are so pretty. They will go great for the holidays. And the cool thing is too, is I can do, you know, this color of yellow, but then I could also have a smaller saucer that's either a different color or even fine china with a different pattern on. There's a lot of play here because it is just kind of this pastel yellow. I could play around with the napkins that I put on here. I could play around with, you know, the smaller plates and the saucers and things like that. And so I knew that buying these plates were going to allow me a lot of versatility as far as what I could add to them. And now, obviously, it's not something that I'm grabbing every single day, but I'm really, really glad that I decided to make that purchase, because they are super heavy duty. They just look so pretty. That was probably one of my favorite finds. All right, so next up we've got practical. I'm buying a lot of my pottery bowls. I have all my bread bowls made by a local potter, but all of the extra bowls that you put sides in and things like that, I have just been searching for those, thrifting those. I found a lot. However, with this particular thrift store haul, I did not find any, but what I did find were these great bean pots. And so this is really, really beautiful, very well done. We could put a brie in here. So although this is a bean pot, I probably am not making beans for the holidays, but I'm always making brie with some sort of beautiful preserve on it. And so I thought this would be really pretty to bake brie in and then have it displayed on the dining room table like this. So this handmade pottery, the potter's on the back of it, it cost me $6.95. And so it's super versatile, right? I can use it for the holidays. I can also use it anytime we have guests coming over. And then I bought this one that is very holiday specific, and it's this little pie dish, but could also be used for a few other things. And it's got this beautiful leaf etching to it. I thought it was so pretty. It's very festive with the colors. It's called Potter Knot at Pottery is who did it. So that's also been really fun too, is I have found some of these pieces that I've thrifted, and I've found them on social media and then bought from them again. So really cool. I paid $6.95 for this as well. I knew it was going to be super versatile. Even if I didn't use it for what it was intended for, I could throw a bunch of chips in here. I could make a pretty dessert and throw in here. I could even do a brie and put chips around it after it was baked. So I knew this was going to be one of those super versatile things. And then of course, I always buy something that's just like grabs my attention. It's pretty unique. It serves a purpose, but it's not necessarily a necessity. And sometimes I'll tell you, you should do that. You should find those things that it's just like, oh my gosh, this brought me so much joy, and I'm gonna snag it. So this is a cute little acorn that is actually an oil lamp. So very cool. It's handmade pottery. I got it for $4.95. I know that this costs way more than that. I mean, if you can just see the detail on this as well, it's beautiful. So the craftsmanship on this, I was just very, very impressed with. You can see all the etching on the bottom of the acorn. It does go with the Thanksgiving holiday really well. I do know this is one of those items that I'm probably only using this seasonally, which is why if it was more than what it was, I probably wouldn't have snagged it. But for $5, so cute. I can bring it out every single Thanksgiving, and I think it'll make a pretty addition to the dining room table. Alrighty, so now that I've shared with you my holiday thrift shop haul, I'm gonna give you guys some of my practical tips for buying secondhand and shopping secondhand. First of all, have a plan. Know specifically what it is that you are looking for. I am a sucker for all things wicker and woven. And so I will go to a thrift store and I'll see a wicker basket or I'll see a rattan shelf and I will want to gravitate and buy that thing. So when I had a plan in mind, I was able to go to the thrift store and look for candlesticks. I was able to look for different bowls that I could put things in. My vision was very, very clear and I didn't get sidetracked versus had I gone in without a plan and a direction on what it was that I was looking for, I would have easily become sidetracked. I would have probably spent money on things that I had not intended to because I thought it was cute. And while there may be cute things, I am usually only buying the things that I'm specifically going thrifting for unless it just really speaks to me. It was a one-of-a-kind thing. I do find having a plan really makes your thrifting shopping endeavors a lot more successful. Also, don't buy cheap, crummy things. Sometimes you can find great deals, and like me, I paid $1, $1.50 for some of those brass candlesticks. That was a great steal. But had the quality not been well, had it been maybe a plastic candlestick and it was cheap, I'm not gonna buy it, right? I don't wanna buy junk. I wanna buy something that I can buy now and it's gonna last me year after year. I can bring it out and reuse it during the holiday season for farm-to-table events. And know that some of those things are gonna cost you a bit more. Now, for me, I'm all for getting a deal. I love when I see that dollar sign really low, but if I'd found something that was exactly what I was looking for, it was made of quality, it was beautiful, I had a vision on what I was gonna do with it, and it costs maybe $5 or $10 more than what I usually would have paid or what I had in my mind that I was gonna pay, go ahead and pay it. You don't wanna come home and not ever be able to find that piece again and you should have snagged it. So just know sometimes when you're looking for antiques in particular, it's going to cost you a little more because they don't make those things anymore. And sometimes it's worth it to know, okay, where can I flex my budget a little bit because it's the thing that you just really want to have and you really want into your home. And so just know, find quality things, sometimes splurge a little and buy the things that are a bit more expensive. And my last tip or piece of advice is to thrift some of the things that you've thrifted. So through the years, I've collected a lot of things. My style has changed quite a bit. Before I would thrift without a plan in mind or a vision, so I would end up collecting things that I had no idea where they were gonna go. And truthfully, they've ended up in a room in my closet collecting dust. And they could stay there and I could never use them, or I could thrift them and resell them. They could bring a lot of joy to a lot of people, and then I have got the extra funds to be able to thrift the things that I really like thrifting. And so for me, if I know I have a big thing I'm buying for, so let's say for the holidays, I knew I was wanting to buy a lot of candlesticks, I knew I was gonna want to buy a lot of pottery bowls and different trinkets that was gonna cost me quite a bit of money. I could have budgeted for that, but instead I knew I had a lot of things that I could get rid of and I could just take that money and reinvest into thrifted things. And so that is what I did. And so if you are wanting to shop for the holidays, maybe for a specific occasion, or maybe you're just wanting to, you know, spruce up your home and like bring some cozy in, or whatever your style is, if it's simplicity, if it's minimalistic, if it's cozy, bohemian, whatever it is you can find a thrifted thing for, get rid of some of those things you don't ever use. Repurpose them. Maybe you just gift them to someone. I think intentional gift giving is really important. And so there's a few of my tips to be successful when you're thrifting. I think that it's great. It's a really frugal way to decorate your home, to spruce up your home if you're not wanting to go to the store. And honestly, they just don't make things like they used to. So for me, I have loved bringing things into my home. There have even been several occasions where my husband has been like, I remember my grandparents had something just like this. And so it's really cool. It kind of brings back a lot of those old fun memories that we have from our own childhood. But thank you for hanging out with me today. I want you to comment below, what is the best thing that you've ever thrifted? I love knowing that people thrift. I get a high with them. Like, I just think it's so cool. But thank you all for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.